Talk Radio. You're in to all things music.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Everybody, welcome to Jackie's Groove. This is Jackie Bertoni, brought to you by Talk Radio. Connect to all things music, guys. It is Wednesday, November the 8th. This year is blowing by in this crazy world we're living in, man. But we're going to slow it down a little bit, and we're going to have some fun today, man. We're going to talk all about the life of my in-studio guest, the gentleman you just heard blasting on guitar just now with the famed Mr. I'm ready to sneeze here. Excuse me, Mr. Charlie Wilson. And a song called Party Train. So with that said, guys, I want to talk all about this gentleman's career, currently with Earth, Wind, and Fire, formerly with Stevie Wonder. We're going to chop it up. We're just going to get to know each other more than we already do. So with that said, guys, I want everybody to welcome with open arms and open ears to Jackie's Groove, Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Morris, thank you, brother, for joining us.
Oh, definitely a pleasure to be here, man. We've been trying to do this for a while. Finally get a chance to do it.
Well, it's called being thankfully and gainfully employed, man. That's the big thing about it. So, we're going to be doing a lot of pre-taping, man. This next probably 3 weeks, Florentino told me, because we've got a lot of people coming on that are off tour right now, and which is a good thing to get for everybody to breathe. And I just want to let you know, Morris, as I told you, Tris Imboden, Wilfredo Reyes, and Keith Howland from Chicago are listening right now. So you want to give them a shout out. They're in Chicago right now.
Chicago. Tell those guys, much love to those guys being in my hometown of Chicago. Man,
yeah, go figure. Chicago,
so much fun touring with those guys.
Chicago, man, and they just finished taping a great PBS series called Soundstage with Joe Thomas. So we'll talk more about that when we get more information. So with that said, brother, let's step back for a second. You brought about Chicago. Were you from the city, or were you in a suburb of that? Tell the audience where you were born and raised.
I was born and raised south side of Chicago, born at Cook County Hospital. Actually, when I was born, we lived in the projects, on State Street, and we moved from there. My dad said, hey, I got to get my family out of here. And so we moved to, further south, like 85th and Morgan. It was really okay neighborhood, pretty quiet, family oriented neighborhood, So I feel kind of blessed of my upbringing. My family, everybody in my family either sung or played instruments. So which goes back to a Chicago story that I was telling you earlier that we were going to talk about. My brothers had a singing group called the O'Connor Brothers, and actually they got picked up by Ike and Teena Turner to produce it. They produced the album on them, cool. And I sung on the tracks. Maybe I was like 8 or 9 years old. And I remember we had this song called Don't Stay Away. We recorded at this famous studio in Chicago called Paul Serrano Studio. There's a lot of great musicians popping in and out. I remember Birdine talking about he came up in that studio, and everybody came up going through. In the '60s and the '70s, you went to Paul Serrano Studio. That was, and we recorded the song, and it was this rock guitar solo with this feedback and stuff at the end. I'm like, wow. And I was asking my brother, like, is that Jimi Hendrix? He said, no, it's this guy, Terry Cass. It was the guitar player for Chicago. He played on the track. I was like, wow, the original guitar. I was like, I got to find the track. I was trying to track it down. My brother, one of my brothers had it. One of my brothers in Atlanta had it on he got it to a CD, and his son, my nephew, said, "Oh, okay, Uncle, I'll send it to you. I haven't got it from him yet. He's supposed to send me the MP3. Maybe another time I'll get a chance to let you hear it. This is a really cool guitar solo he takes on me."
What's the timeline on this? So what year are we talking about?
I want to say 71 or this early 70s. I was a young whippersnapper.
Yeah, weren't we all at one time? Yeah, please. I'm right there with you, brother. And, I want to talk about this, man, because there's so much. I mean, your cross-section of music we're talking about here, as we started out with Charlie Wilson. And what timeline was that? When was that recorded? When was that recorded live? How long ago was that?
That's from the Live and Well Gap Band. We recorded that, I think, at the Fox Theater in Atlanta in 1995, actually.
Have you any contact with him at all? Have you talked to Charlie ever since that time?
Yes, quite a few times. I saw Charlie last year. We were at the North Sea Jazz Festival in the Netherlands. Sweet. And I saw Charlie and his wife, Maheen, and it was really good seeing those guys. We took a few pictures together and we talked for a minute. It was really good to see him. He looked great singing his butt off as usual. But he was on the show with us. He went on earlier before we went on at the North Sea Jazz Festival last year, 2016.
Now, let me ask you this question, Brother Morris. And, when you're talking about growing up in the South Side of Chicago, those are the mean streets, man. I mean, I grew up in Whittier in East Los Angeles, so I know what it's like to be walking with your eyes in the back of your head and so on and so forth. But we made it out, man. We made it out. Nobody held us down but ourselves.
Truly feel blessed.
So with that said, what was the music? I'm just always curious about my artists. What was the music coming out of the speakers? You growing up in the O'Connor household? Well,
my parents was really old school, so they played a lot of gospel stuff. So, my dad, he really loved the Dixie Hummingbirds. I used to hear a lot of that quartet stuff, old school, gospel stuff. And but my brothers, they would listen to a lot of the singing groups like the Delphonics, the Stylistics, actually the Jackson 5,
right?
The 5 Stair Steps. That was like my brother's group kind of patterned themselves more because they liked the rock stuff as well. So we listened to, back then it was different. Everything wasn't so formatted to this is the rock station. You can hear a Parliament Funkadelic song and you hear a Rolling Stones or Led Zeppelin song on the next, on the same station.
I was just talking to that.
Very different.
Yeah, I was talking about that with Ray Parker a couple of weeks ago. I interviewed him, and he was saying the fact that it wasn't segregated, man. We'd be driving down the street listening to Zeppelin, and the next thing you know, you got Paul Anka on the next tune. So it's like, we can't figure out what that is. And you know what? And that's why something that's successful about our station, our network, is the fact is that, our tagline is connect to all things music. And it's, and our whole pretense here at Intertalk is to connect the world with the people, again, the Jackie Bertonis, the Morris, the Morrises and so on, the guys below the marquee, so to speak, that are supporting the names above the marquee. And we don't get the just due, man, the hired guns, if you will. And, and so with that said, I want to ask you this question, brother. Is mom and dad still with us?
No, quite a while ago. My mom died pretty young. She was maybe 65. I really wish she would have been, she was pretty young,
Yeah, my mom was 63, so I'm right there with you, man. It's like, and I asked that question, brothers, because did mom and dad get a chance to look at the fruits of their labors, their boy, and the success? Were they around the time to see you actually hitting hard?
Well, I think my mom, she got a chance to see me graduate from MI in 83, class of 83. God, I can't believe I'm that old.
Trust me.
And I was married, and my wife was pregnant with my first son, so she didn't get a chance to see she passed away maybe a month before my first son was born, which was,
crazy.
That kind of made me pretty sad, kind of blew me away, just like, oh man,
Yeah, but
she's up there watching over me. But,
Dig it, man. That's the whole thing. You always believe.
You got a chance to see me a while.
What did that feel like, man? You looked in the audience and saw Daddy looking at you, man, and with that gleam.
It was definitely, definitely like, hey man, this is your work. You taught me to work hard. You always taught me whatever you're doing, if you're sweeping floors, whatever you do, just put your heart and soul into it.
That's
and,
it.
You'll definitely be rewarded to it by doing that. That work ethic always stayed with me. Doing the homework. Not taking any gig for granted. It's like, if I'm playing in the club, I'm gonna give 100% like I'm on the stage at the stadium. So that's
Absolutely.
just all I know. It's play like you're dying the next day.
Hey, brother, you know what? Before we start talking about I'm sorry, I've got a little delay there. Before we start talking about your current employer, can we talk about this guy by the name of Stevie Wonder and what it was like to play with him? Because I cannot tell you, I've interviewed more people and have lost contact of how many people have gone through the Wonder Camp. And I want to find out exactly where you were when you got that call and when you joined Stevie's band, and what year was that? Because I want to kind of get a timeline of when my friends were playing in the band.
Well, it's kind of weird. This story. I was working with Jody Watley, and she would take times off, and I'd do this gig in Europe at this club called Envoge in the south of France, and I was there for several months, and I met so many people. Stevie Wonder came there and sat in with us. And he played drums, he would play everything but Stevie Wonder songs.
Right.
He just not. I think we may have played one Stevie Wonder, but he didn't want to play. He wanted to jam. And we had so much fun. I said, man, I love what you're doing. Nate Watts, who's still there. He's like, man, we love what you're doing. We're gonna call you for the gig when that chair opens up. This is like '94. I'm like, he's just being nice. He's being polite to me. But 2 years later, in '96. I get the call, and Nate tells me, "Hey, man, you gotta turn Stevie's head." I'm like, I gotta turn a musical genius legend head. I was like, how many great guitar players came through this gig? It's like, oh, and I was a little nervous, and he just told me some of the stuff to learn, and I would stand up till like 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. I would go to the rehearsal. I was there all week, and I would get there. And we would just jam. It's like, okay, Stevie would probably show up maybe like 9 or 10 o'clock, and he'll play some McCoy stuff on the piano. Like, oh, let's do it tomorrow. He kept doing that. I'm like, when am I going to get a chance to play? And Nate was telling me, oh, don't worry about learning because at the time the Natural Wonder album was out. He said, I said, should I learn these? These are live arrangements. He said, oh, don't worry about that. Just learn these songs here. He was having me going through all of the albums, fulfilling his personality, so I was just going through learning all of these records, making cheat sheets for myself, staying up till 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And then I said, you know what? I better learn these tricky endings on these songs for the live stuff. So, and at the end of the week, they say, hey, man, I played Days of Wine and Roses with Stevie. and then I played, what song was that? Tuesday Heartbreak. And he said, oh, you know that, And after that, he walked away, and Nate came and said, hey, he likes what you're doing, but we got this tour coming up in Japan. You got to know the live arrangements. Do you know? I said, yeah. He said, you sure? You know the ending to Higher Ground? And I played the ending. It was a tricky ending on Higher Ground, and I played like, okay, well, you got the gig. And I was like, wow. I was like, I was so happy. I was almost in tears. It's like, man, I'm playing with
how could you not be?
Somebody I grew up listening to,
Yeah, man, isn't that crazy? I say that to a lot of artists, Morris's, and I say to people, isn't it crazy when you grow up and you're listening to the music on the radio or on your little transistor or whatever it is, and then you've got to pinch yourself, man, to realize the fact that you are on stage with the people that were coming out of your radio speakers. And the fact of the matter is, you're not, exactly. And so adding your own, because everybody I know that works with Stevie gives everybody that chance to stretch. Obviously, if you're in that band, you've got the qualifications of doing what you got to do. Yeah. Now, think back for a second. You talk about 96. Who was drumming at that time? Do you remember that far back? Who was playing in the band?
Oh, yeah, Jerry Brown, legendary Jerry Brown. Everybody was so cool in the band, so nice. It's like all of these guys I'm looking up, and Nate just so incredibly down to earth. It's all the stuff he's done, and we still keep in contact. We still good friends till this day, and Jerry, all of us, and I think Herman Jackson was playing keyboards. Another great keyboard player, and Rodney Franklin was the other keyboard player, and the other guitar player was Rick Zuniger, who was like, if you get a chance to interview that guy, amazing amazing
hook it up,
bebop
brother.
player, man. This guy's ridiculous. This guy
You know, when
is amazing. It's like Pat Metheny, Schofield, Mike Stern, all that, all in one cat. This guy is ridiculous on guitar.
You know, it's funny when you talk about Nate Watts. You can't talk about Nate without talking about Nate, that deep voice.
Yeah.
You know, that's Nate's whole thing. I saw Nate 2 years ago. We hung out and we ate and at the Hilton at the NAMM show in Anaheim, and it was just good. Yeah, I mean, again, the most humble brother you'll ever meet. I mean, the first time I ever met Nate, we played at a great club. I don't know if you remember, out in the Valley. Used to play on Monday nights with TRS, and that was the acronym for Tower Rhythm Section. Tower Powers Rhythm Section without the horns. And Nate, it was at a club called Josephina's, and it was every Monday night, and it was the coolest thing because every Monday you never knew who was going to show up. Kind of like I said earlier before we went on, Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns. They're coming back to Las Vegas starting December the 4th, all the way through December and January the 1st. And there's not a time where you can't walk into, at the time, the Palms and and the lounge and see somebody on stage other than the band. And so every time we would be playing at Josephina's, we had a gentleman by the name of Al Jarreau that came in and sat in with us. And you talk about in the aforementioned Jody Watley. We had not Jody, but we had a gentleman by the name of Mr. Howard Hewitt that came in and sat in with us. And we even had these crazy 5-piece guys called the Tower Power Horns that even joined their rhythm section. So these are the things that we grew up with and we listened to and so on. And I'm amazed because I started working with Tower Power when I was a year out of high school. I was December 17th, 1979 will be the day that will live in infamy for myself. And, and we'll talk about the parallels of the music. I want to find out who's inspired you because people are inspired by Morris James. But I want to find out who inspired you and who inspires you to this day. I don't want you to answer the question right now because we're going to trail out right now of segment number 1. You see how fast it goes, brother. And we haven't even started talking about, the band called Earth, Wind, and Fire. Yeah, man. So, and a lot of people, a lot of questions want to find out, if you don't answer it again, if you guys are going to be out on the road again with Earth, Wind, and Fire in 2018. I know the answer, but I'm going to let you tell the audience out there what's going on. So, with Chicago. You're Earth, Wind, and Fire in Chicago. Exactly. So I'm looking at the clock right now. So, Brother Boy, we're going to take a break right now on segment number 1. Going into segment number 2, I'm going to say, my name is Jackie Bertoni. This is Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. Connect to all things music. And with my brother on the line right now, Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Guys, don't go anywhere. Get yourself a beverage. We'll be right back after these short breaks. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on EnterTalkRadio.com.
Todd Zuckerman from the rock band Styx, and you're listening to my pal Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove. Groove on, motherfuckers.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
And we're back. Hey, everybody. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove Talk Radio. Connect to all things music. Second segment of a 2-hour interview with this gentleman by the name of Morris James O'Connor, a guitarist that has worked well. And I guess the question is, who hasn't he worked with? That's a better way to do it. And when we were on the last set, we were talking about the infamous Mr. I Just Called to Say I Love You, Mr. Stevie Wonder. So I want to get back, and I want to say, everybody, welcome back, Morris James O'Connor. Morris, let me ask you this question, brother, because I'm curious. I've asked so many people that have gone through the Stevie camp. I mean, Victoria on keyboards, and Munyungo and Fausto, and the list goes down the line of these amazing players. When you were working with them, please tell me you had the opportunity, because I'm jealous to this fact, and I will have the chance to play one of these days with Stevie, even though Stevie used to play all the time with the reggae group that I worked with for the years called Third World, and Stevie would come and surprise us. Yeah, and I've always been known worldwide as the original Pastafarian, being the Italian that I am. That's the nickname the boys in the band gave me. And I called my wife the side of pasta, and that was the greatest thing. I've been working with this since 1990, and so Stevie wrote a song called Traja Love, and Stevie not only wrote it, he produced it, he played piano on it and sang on it, and he would come in and sit in with us at the Coach House in L.A., in Orange County, or the Canyon Club, and every time the man would come on stage, I would be paralyzed with fear. His half brother, I don't remember, is his half brother's name Morris? Also, the gentleman that always escorted him around. I'm trying to remember his brother's name.
Milton. Was that his brother?
Yeah,
Milton,
man.
That's his brother. Yeah.
And he would always bring it,
Uncle Milton.
And he'd say, "Yeah, man." And he would say, like, "Hey, Stevie's outside. He wants to know if it'll be okay." I mean, do you ever know when Stevie doesn't come to sit in, and whoever's ever said no to him? I mean, you just, it's just you see this.
You can't say.
Yeah,
that's like
man.
saying no to Mozart.
You dig?
I call him. He's a modern day Mozart, man. He's definitely, people use that term genius so loosely, but he's definitely a musical genius.
Yeah, and I've had the
sweetest cat you ever want to know.
Sweetest. I had the opportunity. Yeah, I had the opportunity to be at. Where was I? That he was at NAMM. He was sitting with some gentleman on stage at the Marriott center stage, and this kid was doing Superstition. And Stevie walked up on stage and said, No, man, let me show you how you do it. And the guy, and right now it's already gone viral. It's already got over 3.3 million people that have seen this. I don't know what's happened to this kid's career, but I mean, my God, he'll never, ever forget this. So what I wanted to ask you when I started babbling on here, did you get the opportunity to play with Stevie on stage live, Spain?
Did I do Spain with him? Yes. You know what? In 2007, we hired Roman Johnson on keys, Errol Cooney on guitar, who's now playing with Janet, and Fausto Cuevas. We hired those guys in 2007. And I think, because when I first started playing with Stevie, it's like he had a mental block on the song Giant Steps. So
really,
I think Rodney Franklin was showing him that, and he's like, he started playing it. And for the whole year of 98, we did not do a show without playing Giant Steps. I kid you not.
Man.
We, and then after he mastered that, I think Roman started playing Spain, and he wanted to learn that line, and after that, that was it, We played.
Yeah, but
we didn't play it that much after I left, and I came back. I left in 2008 to play with Earth, Wind & Fire, and they had some time off, and so I was able to come back with Stevie in 2009 and do a couple of tours with him, and we played Spain. That was, it definitely played Spain. Which was fun,
man. I mean,
playing that.
Just the part where you guys solo out after each solo, and it's like dong 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 dong. It's just that breakdown, and then it goes, and Stevie will announce the next player. I am again. I say the word. I mean this from my heart. Jealous. With the fact that I grew up with Earth, Wind & Fire. I mean, it was either Tower of Power, who I ended up playing with. Earth, Wind & Fire to this day is still my favorite band. I mean, we lost, Maurice way too early.
Oh yeah.
The Innovator. And I've been blessed, man, because I had on the show already, your bandmate, John Paris, was on here last year. We had a great time. And, John said, and Paris said to me, he goes, you got to get Morris on, man. Do you know Morris? I said, I know his name. I don't know him personally. So he's responsible for you coming on the show, man. And I do appreciate him reaching out and you accepting.
Guy. Yeah.
What a great band. I want to ask you this question. I want to go back to Earth, Wind & Fire for a second. I mean, who doesn't know Earth, Wind & Fire? My brother, I'm 57, so you and I are pretty much in the same age group. And I mean, when I was going to see Earth, Wind & Fire back in the day in the Forum in L.A. when David Copperfield was hired to perform the Illusions, and the Pyramids and so on, basically the album cover on stage. And I've seen so much. I've had the benefit. Sheldon was on my show last year, and it was great talking to Sheldon. It's great seeing him back in great health and playing again.
Yeah, great.
And so on.
Yeah.
I have to ask this question, brother, and I want to make sure I don't fuck up his name. Serge Dimitrijevic?
Dimitrijevic.
Okay, almost close enough. Now, let me ask you a question, because this boy can play also. And you got two
he's a
serious.
Boy. You got to get him on the show as well.
Again, I'm gonna reach out to you also to do that. So I want to do it because I want to celebrate my life in the music business, my life on the radio, and talking to my brothers who have who've taken the stages, the first, second, and third generation of Earth, Wind & Fire. We're right now Florentino, who you spoke to on break, the CEO over network. He's working out something right now, possibly doing a show with Larry Dunn. And then I'm reaching out personally to my boy, Al McKay. Al didn't know I had a show, so I'm working that with him right now too.
Yeah, you got to get him in. I got to tell you Al McKay's story real quick.
Please share with me. Share with us.
I got a chance. We did a Songwriters Hall of Fame show in New York maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and it was me and Gmo playing. It was another great guitar player who played with Marvin Gaye and a host of others. And we were playing together, and Al McKay played September with us. Man, it was like we were playing the parts. He was in and out of both parts, and in between, it was like a guitar ensemble. I was in guitar heaven playing with that guy. And then to go back last year, we did a thing where Earth, Wind & Fire got a Lifetime Achievement Grammy, and Al McKay, Larry Dunn, and Fred White played with us at the Kodak Theater. And me and Serge, the same thing. Al McKay came in there, was in between the parts, on the parts. It was like I was in heaven with that guy. He's underrated. People got to really, that's the guy. That's a rhythm master for sure. I have the highest respect for that guy, and a sweetheart of a guy as well.
Yeah, man. I tell the story.
Guitar player. Yeah.
I'll parallel that story with Al because for those who don't know the Southpaw, when I was working with Tower, this was probably like in 80 or 81. Emilio Castillo, the founder of Tower Power, actually, congratulations, boys, going on 50 years next year, 2018, 50 years. And with your tour mate, Chicago, celebrating 50 years this year, and so on. So I was Emilio's wife Thelma was actually being a nanny to Al's babies at the time, and so that's when Al had that massive home up on Franklin, and so when I took Thelma over to the house, I hear he yells out, "Yo, Jackie, Thelma, come on in." He goes, "I'm in the back." So now I'm a 20-year-old kid. I'm walking into the house of Al McKay, the house that Earth, Wind & Fire built. And over to the left at this gorgeous mantle was American Music Awards, the Grammys, BET. I mean, the list went down the line. Every award you can think of, it was there. And then I had to use the boys' room. So he goes, yeah, just go down the hallway, make a left, and it's on the right-hand side. I'm not kidding you, Morris. I walked into the guest bathroom, which was probably the size of most people's homes. Inside the bathroom, there were platinum albums on the walls and even, get this, on the ceiling. And so, I'm doing my job. I wash my hands and I walk out, and I've got this look like I must have saw God. And I remember he looked right at me. Al looked at me and goes, too much? And I'm looking at him, and we started busting up. I mean, how could you not? I mean, think about that situation. In fact, those out there that miss Al McKay, you can catch Al all over the world playing on the Al McKay All-Stars and kind of bringing the old Earth, Wind, and Fire situation. Let's talk about the current Earth, Wind, and Fire. You now have Philip Bailey's son singing with the band. How is that? And be honest with me. Be honest with me. Do you feel that was necessary to bring him in for the next generation? I mean, Phil's still in voice, and I mean, it seems like the band is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Then you went from one time they went to dancers before you came in, and so I'm just kind of wondering what your feeling with the band is. Are you comfortable? Have your feet been planted? I mean, you're going on 10 years next year. Do you feel like you feel at home? Do you feel at home in the band?
Yeah, I do actually. Because at first I started out just playing guitar. Then I had to learn some of the choreography, and then Philip said, "Hey man, we hear that you got a voice. Because I'm joking around. I'm always singing around. Joking around with everybody. It's like, oh, you can sing. Why are you not singing? And you're singing on this next tour." I'm like, get with Tig. Percussionist, vocalist Tig, who's another great guy.
Right.
Get with him. He's going to give you the parts to sing, and like, I got to sing, do choreography, and play guitar, which is not easy. It's just like you're using left and right side of the brain. You're doing, it's which is a challenge, which is really cool. I love doing it. I love doing it now.
You let me share with you, my brother. You talk about a parallel because, again, I'm going to use the term jealous, envious, if you will. I auditioned for Earth, Wind, and Fire in 1995, and I got the call. It was at Center Staging. There was four of us, four percussionists brought in. There was Chalo Eduardo, Ronnie Gutierrez, David Romero, and Jackie Bertoni. And I was the last one to go on. And I'm listening through the walls of the rehearsal studio, and the boys are all playing Latin music, playing cumbias, montunos, tumbaos. And I'm thinking to myself, what are my brothers playing with Earth, Wind, and Fire? Why are they playing Latin music? Well, only come to find out that's what Philip wanted to play, was Latin music. Mm-hmm. So when the doors opened up and they said, Jackie, we're ready for you. And I got to tell you, my brother, I've never auditioned for a band, and that's not being cocky. Just my name was able to carry me through to get hired. But the door opens up and there's the album cover staring at me. And Philip Bailey had a video camera, and he said, Jackie, look at the camera, state your name. And the only way I can get my nervousness out, I looked at the camera and I said, my name is Paulinho da Costa, and I've let myself go. Paulinho is my mentor, the most recorded percussionist in the history of music, but he's half the size that I was at that time. They lost it. Philip looked at me and said, hey, we're huge fans of Third World. And I said, well, Third World's huge fans of Earth, Wind, and Fire. Jackie, what do you want to play? And I looked at him for a second, Morris, and I said, Shining Star. And so Ralph was playing drums at that time. Sonny had not been on the gig as of yet. And so we sit there, and Verdine, and I call him the Praying Mantis. You hear that opening, right? So I threw my hand up, and they go, and Philip goes, what's wrong? I said, nothing. I just kind of blown away, brother, because I can't tell how many top 40 bands I've played in and played this song. Now I'm playing with the real guys. So we ended up doing, the other guys only played like 2 songs. I ended up playing 6 songs with the guys. In the Stone.
Wow.
We played We and a Magic. I Write a Song, and and so we played 6 songs. We finished up with whatever it was. I walked out of the studio and I broke down crying. My wife said to me, what's wrong? I said, I fucking sucked. And she goes, honey, you sounded great. She goes, you played 6 songs. The other guys played 2. So we went down on Ventura Boulevard, went to CPK, and I was crushed because it was my opportunity to work with the legendary Earth, Wind, and Fire. Fortunately, 3 days later, I get the call. I didn't get the gig, and that was okay. My friend David Romero got the gig. And,
I worked with David before.
Yeah, that's one of my closest friends. We actually had him on this April. We celebrated a 1-year anniversary for his heart transplant. And
right. I did a gig with him 2 years ago when he was having the problems with. I said, well, he's getting really thin. I was kind of worried about it. I'm glad he's so much better now. Yeah, I've been seeing the post.
He's crazy. He's crazy, and he's doing it. So that's my situation. How I got my feet wet with EWF. So with that said, I'm going to ask you this question, brother, and we'll pick it up on a 2-part question here. But where were you? And if you remember this, and you'd be lying if you said you didn't, that you got the call to fill the shoes of the position of guitar player for Earth, Wind & Fire. Where were you? And what time was this? Where were you? What were you thinking?
I can tell you exactly. I had just finished a tour with Stevie in 2007, and we wasn't sure if he was, because Stevie would take time off, because he's always doing so many different things,
Right.
So we didn't know what was going on. And I got a call from John Paris, saying, man, we're in Germany. I think Vadim is getting ready to quit. That's the guy who I replaced. Great, another amazing guitar player. And I said, oh, really? What's, I was like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I might be doing something with Stevie, and then he called me again, it's like, man, you would be a great cat for this gig, and you have to audition. Myron's the musical director. Myron is sending you Myron sent me the email, all of the stuff I need to learn, and that's when that whole work ethic thing came in, because Myron was the keyboard player, musical director, who his first road gig when he was 19 was Otis Day and the Nights, and I was the musical director. This is like over 20-something years ago. And so I know Myron, I've been knowing him for years, and I knew John for years. We used to run into each other when he played with the Daz Band, when I played with the Gap Band. And Gmo, we played with Otis Day and the Nights, the other guitar players. We were really good friends, And so I knew mostly everybody in the band, but I didn't take that for granted. It's like, well, as Vadim quit and he's he wants to do something different, I still need to make sure I'm ready to go out on tour. So I learned the whole show.
Morris, do me a favor. I'm gonna jump in here real quick. I'm gonna interrupt you here because we're coming out again. See how fast this goes. We're coming out of segment number 2. We're gonna pick this back up because this is interesting. People really want to hear about that. So, with that said, guys, I'm talking to Morris James O'Connor, the prolific and the beautiful man on guitar and vocals with Earth, Wind & Fire, the Daz Band, and Stevie Wonder. The list goes down the line. So don't go anywhere, guys. Segment 3 coming around the corner. My name is Jackie Bertoni. Jackie's Groove, brought to you by Intertalk Radio Network. Connect to all things music. Guys, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the short break.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas, and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now, with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording, and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on InterTalkRadio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Michael McDonald, and you're listening to my good buddy Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Everybody, welcome back to segment number 3 of Jackie's Groove. You know who I am. I'm Jackie Bertoni, and the network is called Intertalk Radio, Connect All Things Music. You guys, when you can't listen to me live, and obviously if you're not listening to me live right now, it's because you're not listening to me live. How's that sound? But with that said, you guys, when you can't listen to us live, do us a favor and do yourselves a favor. Go on to iTunes or go on to Google and download our easy-to-use, easy-to-navigate, and free application. 2 words, Intertalk is the first, and radio is the second. You can take Jackie's Groove and the plethora of shows that we have on the network on the go with you, so you're never away from this amazing consortium of shows. And what I'm glad right now is I'm having a blast right now with this gentleman by the name of Morris James O'Connor. Morris, welcome back. Let me ask you this question, brother. You know, we were talking about vibing and everything else, too. You know, I know the ins and outs of Chicago since the majority of the guys in the band are my friends, long-time friends, I should say. I'm a fan of theirs for so long because with Tris and myself, Tris and Bowden, who's been on the Chicago throne on drums for 27, going on 28 years. Prior to that, he was with Al Jarreau, Kenny Loggins, and I worked all the way back in the, the late 70s. Actually, I take that back, the late 80s with the big band from Hawaii called Cecilian Copono. So that's how I met Tris, and then Wally, Wilfredo Reyes, who is known all around the world as one of the greatest drummers, Santana, Stevie Winwood, and the list goes down the line. But now on the percussion throne with Chicago going on 6 years. And, you know, they have a thing that they have like 3 buses. They have the A bus for the artist, they have the B for the band, and they have the C for the crew. How many buses, and this is a question a lot of listeners want to know, with the huge entourage of Earth, Wind, and Fire, how many buses are for the band? Or does Philip stay away? Does Ralph stay away? I mean, how do you guys break it up?
There's a bus for the principals, Ralph, Burdine, and Philip, and some of the management staff. But then there's another bus for the band as well, you know. Mm-hmm. And I think 1 or 2 of the band members is on that bus as well. I think John is on that bus. I always tease him. Mm-hmm. Are you the assistant principal? He hates me. I call him assistant principal.
You dig?
He's like, hey, I'm not. So, you know, the 2 buses, 1 is for the principal and a few band members, and the other one is for the band and a few of the staff. And the other 2 buses is for the crew, you know. Right. So we have 4 buses.
You know, and I want to throw this back also, too. We were talking a little while ago about the fact about when you got in and had to learn the songs and so on. We all try to get into the portfolio of the groups that we're working with. But here's a question I want to know as a musician, When with all my years working with Brian Wilson and the Beach Boys, basically, forgive me for being blatant, but we can fart a Beach Boy tune in our sleep. We know the music left and right. And the same with Earth, Wind, and Fire. But my question to you as a musician and for the listeners out there who aren't, when you're playing an Earth, Wind, and Fire song, even though you said you had to quote-unquote learn the show, are you playing the music to the record, the way it was recorded, or how much are they chopping it up? How much are they mixing it up on the actual live performance?
Just me personally, I prefer those parts that Al McKay came up with and those keyboard parts that Larry done. Those parts go together like an ensemble. So I just try and respect those parts. That way it's not all over the place. You know, if I'm playing that, because there's like more guitar parts than you can imagine on some of that stuff. But it's like in and out, you know, and I just try and, you know, I learned the parts from the record. And a lot of times what you think it is not. And you listen to stuff that you grew up playing. Right. When you listen to it with adult ears, sometimes it's like you got to listen back to it, you know. It's like, oh, I wish all these years I played this the wrong way, you know. You really listen to it with your knowledge and experience, you hear it differently, you know. You can really dig deep into those parts.
And that's very cool that you mentioned that, because let's talk about the ability you're playing styles from jazz, from acoustics to, you know, steel and nylon strings, all the way up to playing your ass off with that beautiful, I don't know if that's an Anderson guitar, the green one that I see you on stage with, or
it's a custom-made guitar by this guy, Mr. Shino Vestex. Actually, they know him for DJ equipment here, but one of his guitars, a lot of people thought that guitar that Prince played was a Horner, but it was really a H.S. Anderson, and the H.S. stands for Hadasato Shino. So it's the same guy who made my green guitar made that guitar that you see, that Telly that you see Prince play. And man, great guitar builder, you know.
You got to give a shout out to the ones who support us.
20 years. Yeah.
And so my question is, when you've got two motherfuckers on stage, and I mean that as a compliment, from the Morris and the Surge, who and how do you work out the guitar parts? Are you more rhythm? Are you more lead? Share with us. Explain to us.
We switch it up. You know, on some songs he's playing more rhythm stuff, and I'm playing more lead stuff. And some songs he's playing lead stuff, and I'm, you know, like on Love's Holiday, he's doing the solo, the main solo over there, and he's doing the main part. And I'm doing it, you know. Then on Shining Star, we kind of switching it up. I'm doing solos on that. Got to Get You, he's doing a solo on that. You know, so it's kind of evenly balanced out. You know, and you know, I just try and support whoever's soloing. If he's soloing a Myron solo, I'm trying to lay in the background and just be a strong rhythm player, you know. And that's one thing, you know, I noticed when we did the thing with Al McKay. I was like, look, man, you know, when we play Shining Star, man, this is you. I'm doing you. So I'd be happy to sit back in the background and just play the rhythm while you solo. He didn't want to. He's like, man, I love playing this rhythm. I'm going to play the rhythm. No, you take the solos. You sound, you know. I was like, man, this guy is so humble, all the stuff he's done, you know. I was blown away by that. You know, I was ready to, hey, man, you want to do the solo, that's the way of the world, all this stuff, you know. I was ready to, like, hey, man, I'll just play the rhythm. I'll sit in the background. I'll be honored to play rhythm behind him, you know.
Well, let's
jump to do the rhythm stuff.
Let's jump forward here on one of my favorite songs. In fact, I put it up on Facebook. I put the words to a song called September. Now, on the beginning of that song, recorded wise or live, who is playing that guitar riff, that, you know, that skank, if you will, coming into the song? Is that you or Surge?
That's me, actually.
Okay, cool.
And the other part is so important, and it's like the way they go together. It's like an ensemble, you know. It's like,
yeah.
So those parts is like, they're like, you know, they're speaking to each other. It's like like I said, it's like a guitar orchestra. Every hole has got its spot, you know. That's why you can't play too much of, you know, overplay on the gig. You got to play the parts and, you know, put a little bit of you in. Of course, you got to put a little bit of you, because they can go and listen to the record if it's just exactly like the record. So you have to put just sprinkles of you in there, you know.
Sure.
Yeah, which is really cool, you know.
What I think is really cool also, too, you just mentioned the fact about the dynamics between the two players and so on, and the fact that you're going on 10 years with the band. So let's go back for the principals 1 second. Verdine, Ralph, and Philip. When you guys are up there, you're up there for a reason. It's not just because you got the gig. It's how you got the gig, and more importantly, how you kept the gig, and, you know, and so on. But my question to you, my brother, is when you're up there and you're playing and so on, and you guys are doing your own thing, and you guys are basically can sleep your show, you can sleep to the show, you know what you're doing. Do the principals leave you guys alone on stage at this point in your career? Meaning the fact they give you the wherewithal to do what you want to do. Not that you're going to step out of your lane and stretch it more than you should, but they are confident enough that they don't have to look back at you and give you that eyeball like the mother, like, you know, what the fuck are you doing? Is that well beyond that point?
No, they don't have to do that, yeah. No, yeah, it's beyond that point. And the only thing Philip may say, if he wants an arrangement a certain way, hey, let's try this. And it's like we're excited about it. It's like, oh, yeah, okay, well, let's do this. Okay, well, try this, do it this way. And we get it done. And, you know, it's just we're communicating with each other, you know. That's what I would like to say to a lot of young guitar players. It's like when you're on the stage with another guitar player, don't try and battle with them. Have a conversation, you know.
Exactly.
It's really about having a conversation, and that let your ego go and stop trying to outplay. Just be yourself. Be who you are. And that'll shine all the time, you know.
Yeah, because there's that old saying, Morris, and I don't know if you've heard it, but I'm going to share it with you. Is like, I got some good news and bad news. The good news is that brother's got a lot of chops. The bad news, that brother's got a lot of chops. And there's one thing that you'll never hear in my situation, that I've ever been a busy player, because when I'm on stage with one or two other percussionists, we know inherently what not to play. And it's what you don't play is more important than what you do play. I'm sure you agree with me on that. When in doubt, lay out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So when you're up and you're playing and so on and so forth, when you and Serge are playing again too, I'm just going to go back because I'm intrigued just by the fact that for those people who have not had the opportunity to see Earth, Wind, and Fire joining forces with Chicago, let me tell you guys something. At the end of the show, both bands come through the tunnel. And you know exactly what tunnel I'm talking about, Morris. And when you guys start walking through that tunnel and you guys are spreading out the horn section, because I interviewed Lee Loughnane last month, and got Jimmy, like I know him, James Pankow. And I love it because we were talking backstage in San Diego, and Lee said, you know, there's nothing more, what's the word? There's nothing more white about him is getting on stage with Earth, Wind, and Fire. They look back as their horns, your horns, are up on a riser, even when you guys all join together, then the Chicago horns are on the floor. He said it's the hardest thing to do is to look back because those three brothers are dancing in unison. And we're trying not to show our whiteness, you know, and by, you know, separating on stage and playing. So with that said, when you guys all get together, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm really hard pressed to believe that there's not probably about 22, 23 musicians on stage at that time.
Yes, quite a few. I think it is.
When you're playing a Chicago song, do you work out before with my boy Keith Howland what to play, what you're going to play?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. And, since he's the guy, like we asked him, hey, what, you know, me and Serge asked him what you need us to play, all this, and we work it out, you know, like 25 or 64 was like, let's come up with a line, and, you know, we did it all in harmony, a 3-part harmony. And yeah, he's a bad cat, bro. Ooh, what a talented cat. I didn't realize we were talking, and we went to the same school. He graduated a few years after me. He went to MI as well. Yeah. He's an alumni of GIT as well.
Yeah, he's just, you know, Keith is just probably one of the most mellow guys. We're going to got him coming up to the first year. He's got a new band out right now, and we're going to help promote that. We'll talk more about it as we go on. I also want to find out, too, now that you've seen the situation when Jason Scheff left Chicago over 2 years ago, he was replaced by Keith's friend by the name of Jeff Coffey. I got to tell you something, and not disparaging, Jason, but Jeff, I'm a huge fan of, man. Here's a guitar player that is playing bass. Yeah, man. And I wanted to get your feeling. I want to give a shout out because I've got Jeff coming on the show probably sometime in December. He still is still blown away the fact that not only is he on the stage with Chicago, but he's actually playing bass when he's known as a guitar player. Do you enjoy his vibe on stage? Do you like his voice?
Yes, he's got a great voice, man, and a really nice guy, great personality.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, man, where's my boy Jason? And then I was like, oh man, you know, Jason went on to do his thing, and man, it's like how lucky are those guys to have Peter Cetera, who sings his ass off and play bass, to get Jason sings his ass off and play bass, and then after Jason leaves, to get the new guy to sing his ass off and play. It was like, man, you know, that's the three in a row. I was like, really?
Yeah, and
this guy is singing his butt off, playing his butt
and I'm blown
off.
away right now, Morris. I mean, even though you and I have not shook hands and gave each other a brother hug, man, but it's like I'm sitting here right now with I've got the CEOs texting me right now going, Jackie, Earth, Wind, and Fire, capital print, and everything else. The fact that he's enjoying this because of Jackie that I'm able to bring these guys over, the Morrises over, the Walfredos, the Trisses, and so on. But I'm living your history, brother. Just when I think I've known Wally for 30 years, he comes up with stories that, back in the day with Santana that I never knew. And that's the whole vibe about my show, is bringing the listening audience behind the velvet rope, allowing them to walk in the shoes of Morris Connor, if not only for 2 hours. They kind of get the vibe with that. And I want to sit there and I want to come back on this last segment, or segment number 4. I want to pick it up where we're at here. I want to know what it's like in the day of Morris, a day of show day. I'm just curious to find out. I know how it works because it's a hurry up and wait. And, there's nothing glamorous in what you do and I do until the lights go up. But I want to share with the audience exactly what you do as an older guy on guitar and playing the music of our, our soundtrack of our lives. So when we come back on segment number 4, believe it, the second hour, again, you see how fast it's going. Okay. We haven't even touched on a lot of things. Yeah. So when we come back, guys, we're going to be picking it up where we left off with Morris James O'Connor. My name is Jackie Bertoni. The show is Jackie's Groove, and the network is called Intertalk Radio. Connect to all things music. Segment 4, coming around the corner, the second hour of a 2-hour interview with Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Don't go anywhere, guys. Short break. We'll be right back. This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al DiMeola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be your music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Al DiMeola, and you're listening to Jackie's Groove with Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Welcome to Acoustic Guitar 101 and Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Guys, welcome back to segment number 4, the second hour of a 2-hour interview with this icon. Hey, brother, I wish the audience could hear. I'm glad they can't hear. But when we're on a break, even though we're off mic on the airways, we're still chopping it up and stuff. And so I always ask the entertainer, or the entertainer says, hey, man, can we bring this up? But you brought up a part, my brother. What brought you back to Las Vegas back in 2003? We talked about your job as, correct me if I'm wrong, the MD, or playing the guitar with Miss Gladys Knight at the Flamingo. So share with the audience what it was like.
That was great. I mean, we started 2002. We started rehearsing, and that's when I asked Nate. Nate was saying, "Hey, man, Stevie's gonna take a little time off." I think at the time, he lost his brother. He was kind of like wanted to chill for a minute.
Right.
And so I said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and go to Vegas and do this, and brought the family out, and we were there for like maybe 4. I think she was there for 5 years, and I think the last year I was a musical director, and I wanted to spend more time. My dad was getting older. I said, well, I'm there all the time. I want to be able to go and see my dad in Chicago, and I know Stevie's not going to work as much. He's not going to be on the road as much, so right. I can still. Now we were working on the Time to Love album while I was still playing with Gladys. We were working on that, and it's like, what? And Nate said, "Hey, man, you want to do the tour? We're getting ready to do this Time to Love tour." I said, "You know what? That would be great." And I left. I left on good terms. I got her a guitar player.
Sure.
I got a bass player. At the time, the bass player left as well. Scott Kennedy, great bass player, he left. And I got another bass player from Philly, Walter Jones. And I got my buddy who I grew up with in Chicago, great guitar player, James Davis, who's still playing with Gladys till this day, actually. And, what's funny, he was roommates at Berklee College of Music with Tigger, who's with Earth, Wind & Fire. Mm-hmm. What a small world. And me and James, we grew up together. We went to the same grade school in Chicago playing guitar together, which was really cool. So I was, glad to hook him up on that. And he's killing the kid. He's doing a great job. He's still playing with Gladys. But it was definitely a pleasure playing with her.
Let me ask you an unfair question. And again, and I call it unfair because it's asking, who your favorite child is. But think about your legacy and everybody that you shared the stage with and you shared your talents with. To this day, including Earth, Wind & Fire, what are your fondest memories? Who did you have more fun playing with? Share with me.
Oh, man, I had a ball with, oh, God.
Tough one.
That is hard to say, That's a tough one. Because, everybody in Earth, Wind & Fire, the guys, is just a great group of guys. We spend so much time laughing and joking around. And, me, Gary, Sax Gary, and Bobby, we always hanging out having cigars, That's our pastime after the show. We'll hang out and have a good scotch or something and have a cigar and shoot the shit, laughing, joking around. And Serge will hang out with us as well. He doesn't smoke cigars as much as we do, but he occasionally, John will hang out, and John doesn't smoke or drink, and he'll hang out with us, just for the hang. So it's a fun hang. We have so much fun hanging out, and, God, I had a lot of fun hanging out with Nate and those guys with Stevie and, Gladys band. We did a run where we were in Taormina, Sicily with Gladys like in 2004, and we had a great time. It's just, I can't say one.
That's why I said it's an unfair question. Exactly. Well, and let me ask this question, and I always want to know this. Again, I don't know Stevie. I don't know the inner mechanics of Earth, Wind & Fire. But I do ask the question. A good friend of mine, Michael O'Neill, great guitarist. Michael has been with George Benson for 30 years, and he's also, with Diana Ross, with Barbra Streisand. And so I always ask this. I ask this question to all of us guys, the hired grunts, for the lack of a better word. I said to Michael, is Barbara a road dog? Is she a homegirl? And he said, Jackie, she is more homey than any of the guys and the girls in the band. I mean, she'd rather sit back and talk to the audience versus playing. She will sit down and she will eat with us and laugh until her people come and grab her away because she's got to do press or whatever it may be. So with that said, and again, too, without stepping on the principal's toes, but is Philip, Ralph, and Verdine, are they road dogs? I know Verdine is a homeboy, but how is Phil and Ralph? Do they hang out with you guys?
Every once in a while, because Phil has a lot of stuff he's doing, and he'll hang out like, it'll be random. Like one time sometimes I'll be sitting out front having a cigar, and Philip would just walk up and light up a cigar. I didn't even know he smoked cigars. I'm like, how does he hit those high notes and smoke cigars? Or he'll come on, hey man, how's the family? And we just hang out, talk about kids and grandkids, and have a cigar and just kind of hang out. And everybody is pretty cool, man. Everybody, Ralph will hang. We'll hang out with Ralph. Actually, I was doing some recording sessions for Ralph also. He does a lot of writing and production stuff as well, and Verdine as well. I mean, they really down to earth. I've been really blessed and really lucky. Nobody has really been assholes, really, and they can be, and Stevie can be they've chosen
as we can too.
Yeah. And
and
when I deal with some of these new artists who's prima donnas, and it's like, man, if Stevie Wonder and Philip, Ralph, and Verdine is not tripping, I don't want to hear no shit from you guys,
Let me tell you something.
It gives me kind of an attitude about a new artist that's going to trip. It's like, if these legends not tripping, I don't want to hear shit from you.
Yeah, well, because you sit back for a second. Again, we're long in the tooth, man. We've been through hell and back. We've been on the road for years. I was at a local restaurant playing with some friends of mine, a great group called Midnight Satellites, and the manager walked up to me a few years ago, and she goes, here, sneak a cheek. So I moved over on a break. She sat next to me, and she goes, I knew you were a musician, but I didn't have any idea that you were, and she used the quotations with her fingers, a musician. I said, what do you mean by that? She goes, well, I was on your website, and I didn't realize that you played with the who's who of the industry. And I said, okay. And she goes, but you're so mellow about it. I said, sweetheart, the people that I work for, they're the stars. And if they don't have an attitude, why in God's name would I even think of having a fucking attitude? It's not, I know, trust me. And you'd be lying if you said you didn't either. But when I was coming up with her, with Tower of Power, when I was coming up there, I didn't think my shit stank, and I was a little ego motherfucker. Right? You couldn't tell me that I wasn't until one day we did a big gig, and I forgot my credentials. And I came up, and the guy stopped me at the gate, and he says, no, you're not on the list. I said, well, of course I'm on the list. I'm the percussionist. And I finally said, look, the guy, I go, motherfucker, do you know who I am? And I swear to you, Morris, he looked at me, took his glasses off. He goes, I know who you are, and I don't give a fuck. And what that did, it really leveled me. It really leveled me, because just when Morris thinks that his shit doesn't stink, and I mean that the fact that we've paid our dues over the years, when we're out and we have the crew and we have the meet and greets, and there's more people with their noses up our rear end because they're getting a chance to meet their fans. I mean, I was just with Chicago last month, and the guys, if they have to take one more picture of a meet and greet and, over 150 people who paid extra money to do that, and they have a little stand with the Chicago drape behind them, and they're all smiling, but they're looking at me like, shoot me now. But the fact of the matter is, we have our good days, we have our bad days, but in our position that Morris is in and so on, as I said, and I say over and over again, there's nothing glamorous to what you and I do until the lights go up. Do you agree with me on that? I mean, even though we talked about the hang,
that's true. Yeah, definitely.
And the sound check.
Tired, man.
Okay, so let's say, the listeners out there that are all over the world, we are now Morris James O'Connor. We're waking up, the alarm goes off, and let's just say it's a show day. Share with us, man. How does your day? How do you prepare for the day? What do you do? Walk us through.
I will get up. The first thing, I crawl for the coffee.
You dig? Exactly.
So hopefully there's coffee in the room. I get a cup of coffee, and I'll kind of like pace back and forth, kind of stretch a little bit, and then I'll do my qigong, which is like kind of like a meditate stretch, which predates yoga. I'll do that, and then I'll put my workout stuff on, and I'll hit the gym and get on the treadmill and do a little run and do light, like not too heavy of a workout, because I know I'm gonna get a workout on stage. After that, come back up, shower, get ready, go have breakfast, and then I go and I'll warm up a little bit on the guitar, and then by that time it's pretty much sound check. And we do the sound check. After sound check, we have dinner. After the dinner, then we kind of chill for a minute after the dinner, and then it's get ready, go to wardrobe, get ready for the show, and it's showtime. You know, that's pretty. And the day is pretty much gone. You know.
When you guys are playing a solo, when Earth, Wind and Fire is a standalone, is it a 90-minute set? Are you strict to that 90-minute set, or is it more or less?
It's 90 minutes. Sometimes we'll go over, you know. You know, we have those moments where the audience won't let us stop, or we'll stretch some stuff out, you know, get caught up in one song that's supposed to have been a certain length of time and it ends up being longer, you know. That happens sometimes, you know.
Who comes up with the set list?
Philip. Philip comes up with the set list, you know, because he's got to pace it, because he's got to hit those high notes, so he's got to pace. Okay, when can I take a break from hitting these notes up in the stratosphere? So, you know, kind of mix it up, you know, kind of balance it out.
Now, speaking of Philip and his voice on Reasons and Love's Holiday and all the other great songs that he lent his voice to, now, as he's a little bit older, I mean, I don't say this in a disparaging way, but he's not in full voice, high voice like he used to be. I mean, that's just a part about being an age. With that said, do you guys tune down on certain songs, or do you guys keep it at the same key that it originally was and watch him struggle, if not at all?
No, you know what? Everything is in original key. He does not change. Him or Stevie Wonder, those guys do not change keys. I was like, wow. Everything is at original key. He doesn't change anything. It's like, man,
now,
you know.
Now on stage, when you're up on stage and everything else, and you've got everything, I have to ask this question because I can only answer for myself. I do not like in-ear monitors. I never have, and the chances are I probably won't. I did some great interviews just recently at our headquarters in San Diego, in which Paul and Florentino, they stick these frigging in-ear monitors. I hate it. I like my headphones on like I'm sitting right now behind my microphone. But on stage, and I'm, you know, talking about working with a group like TOP, being in a group of 10 players, me 11, or even bigger like groups like Santa Fe and the Fat City Horns. My question to you is, do you prefer in-ear monitors, or are you still in love with the ambient wedge on stage? If you have a choice, what are you doing?
I love the ambient wedge, but you can't really do that with our Earth, Wind and Fire show. I know when I first started playing with the group, I had a wedge, and I had like some headphones that, you know, in there there wasn't no molds. It was before I decided to get the molds. It's like, and I said, I'll just put one in one ear, because at first I didn't have anything in any ear. So, but when you leave the stage, you know, you're not gonna hear everything that you're playing, and you got to play together. You don't want to hear the delay of the large rooms that you're playing. So, with the in-ears, allows me to do is to hear everything, hear everybody, so we can play together and sync. Hear my notes that I'm singing, so I'm not singing, so I'm singing on pitch, and being able to do choreography and all of that stuff, and, you know, still be able to hear yourself. For that, it's perfect. But I do love, if I'm just standing up just playing, you know, I would love to just hear my amp and all that. But you know, you can't do that, you know, unfortunately, you know. And the in-ear stuff is getting better and better, you know. They have like absolutely 8 or 9 drivers where you can hear the stuff, and it's all about who's doing the monitors. We really, really lucky with the guy we have now, Terrence Chisholm. He's like, you know, he really catches what we trying to get in our in-ears. And, you know, sometimes we have very little time to do stuff check. Like when we do the festivals. Yeah, he'll have the stuff set up, and we put the in-ears in. It's like, okay, wow, my mix is. We have little signals like, you know, I'll do a finger thing, and I said bass and point up or down if I want the bass up or down, or I'll do a strum and point towards surge up or down if I want to hear more surge. You know, so, you know, we have little symbols that we make for him to bring the volume up or down on certain things, and you get your perfect mix in your ear, you know, which is cool.
What don't you want to hear in your mix? It's funny. I asked that to Lee Loughnane, and Lee responded by saying the wrong note. I started laughing. I couldn't stop. But that's what he doesn't want to hear is a missed note. But is it? You've got to hear yourself. I would assume so.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I have to hear myself, so I won't play the wrong note.
Right, of course.
But sometimes, you know, the art of being professional is being able to play the wrong note and not let it destroy your whole show and be able to roll with it like I meant to do that and keep going, you know. Because there was time when I was doing a solo that That's the Way of the World, and the string popped. And with my guitar, it has a floating tremolo system.
Right.
With a floating tremolo system, when one string pops, it knocks everything out of key in between keys. And so I'm in the middle of the solo of That's the Way of the World, playing with one less string and got a bend so I can be in pitch because it's in between keys. And I had to do it, you know. I just kind of let one or two notes sing and just played a little diddle, 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 you know, just, it's nothing I can do. It's like, okay, I can either fall apart or play this shit like I meant it and keep it moving.
You know what we got to keep moving right now, too, brother?
You know?
We got to keep moving this segment out because we're coming into the last 30 seconds of segment number 4. Again, I'm blown away, and there's still so many more questions that I have to field here. So when we get back on segment number 5, we're going to talk more about the aesthetics itself, and I want to talk to you about the do's and don'ts, meaning the songs that you love to hear, the songs that if you don't hear again, that's okay with you also. Share with us, and you know, keep it real, keep it honest, keep it 100%, because there's got to be some things. There's times when I'm on stage, especially when I'm in the studio, after I'm done recording an album, I don't want to hear the music until it's actually been pressed. And we're going to talk about the old versus the new also. I want your opinion. So with that said, guys, segment number 4 on the way out. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, Intertalk Radio Network, Connect All Things Music, and my in-studio guest today, Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Guys, don't go anywhere. Segment number 5 right around the corner. Stay tuned.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on InterTalkRadio.com.
Todd Zuckerman from the rock band Styx, and you're listening to my pal Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove. Groove on, motherfuckers.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
back, everybody. Hey, it's Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove. Segment number 5, last hour of a 2-hour interview with Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Before we go any further, Morris, I'm going to do a little business here, and we got to keep these lights on. I want to say thank you, first and foremost, to our sponsors. And first and foremost, we're talking about Calvin Lee and his crew over at Pitbull Audio. You can reach them at pitbullaudio.com. They just want you to play it loud. Guys, go online, man. Buy some merchandise. They've got great prices. They're known all over the world, and we're very, very happy to have them on board with us. Also, my own personal favorites, Sabian Cymbals, who I've been with for 25 years, Sabian.com. Vader Percussion, VATER.com, my drumstick choice for 25 years. And my favorite, I've got to be very biased there, Morris, LP Music, going on 28 years of them being my sponsor for all of my musical percussion rig. And also, too, for those out there in the financial situation that can afford it, please visit our friends at Bling Group, BLINGGROUP.com, for all of your custom diamond watch needs and diamond jewelry. And also, too, in finishing up, someone I'm sure Morris is very familiar with, I know he has, I know I have been, that's called SIR, Studio Instrument Rentals. You can reach them at SIR-USA.com. So with that said, guys, welcome back. Hey, Morris, I want to jump back into this for a second because we talked about, I had this interview with my good friend of mine, Anthony Raya, an emerging drummer, last Monday, and he asked me, hey, would it be okay if we talked about Las Vegas, and not to sit there and beat the quintessential dead horse and its conspiracy theories and so on. What's happened has happened. God bless those who lost their lives and family members and friends who had lost during this horrible tragedy on October the 1st. I have to ask this question, and I got to be honest with you. It's a shame when we have to bond together as a community to unitize and to come together as Americans when there's a travesty and a tragedy as of October the 1st, without getting into the inner mechanics of this. But aren't you proud of your city of Vegas, how they've bonded together?
Definitely.
Go ahead and share with me.
Everybody reacted really quick. What's really crazy is that day I was out with my family because October 1st is my birthday.
I know we talked about that.
Happened on my birthday. I'm like, geez, really? On my birthday, man? Or any time, it's never a good time to kill innocent people. Never, It's just really sad, but everybody stuck together. Everybody looked out immediately. The response from the police department. I have friends that's on the police department here as well, the fire department. Everybody looked out, everybody was on point, Vegas really stood strong together,
Vegas strong, baby. Vegas strong.
Yeah, definitely.
And like Mama said, but that does not kill you, makes you stronger, man, And I love Vegas. As I said to you on the break, we're 3.5 hours away from Vegas. And now that I think we're going to be coming up after the first of the year, we're going to be breaking out just to go there and stay at the Aria like we normally do and, and go feed our bellies at different establishments. Jada's, which is one of my favorite places at the Cromwell.
Make sure you let me know.
Yo, brother, please, trust me.
I've got some good restaurants you can check out here. Good Thai food. Amazing out here.
My wife loves Thai. And the first dinner is on me. And then the rest of it's on you. How's that sound? So, we'll definitely give each other a big hang. And hopefully on a Monday we can come down. We'll call Jerry Lopez from Santa Fe and do a little playing with him, get on stage. And with that said, I want to ask you a question, brother, because I can only speak on my side. When I came out of the school of TOP, it was almost like a negative situation. Let me elaborate on that. When you come out of the school of Tower of Power, or the school of Earth, Wind, and Fire, or Stevie Wonder, we become almost like the good-looking blonde in high school. Nobody asks us out for the weekend because they assume that we already have a date. So with that parallel, do you find it a negative to a certain level where people are apprehensive of getting a hold of Morris because they don't feel that he would step down and play a local club gig, or he's too expensive? How do you handle that situation? Have you faced that at all?
Or they assume that you're working all the time.
Right.
That happened with me with Stevie Wonder. I'm like, why am I sitting at home? Why is nobody calling me?
You dig?
We didn't figure you out with Stevie, or you're out with Earth, Wind, and Fire. And these last few years has been extremely busy with Earth, Wind, and Fire. I haven't been home for more than 2 weeks. I thought it was April. I haven't been home for more than 2 weeks since February, really, this year, which is crazy,
Which is a good thing, though, man.
But it's definitely a blessing. Definitely a blessing. So I'm home for. I'm here till Friday at least.
Let me ask this question, brother. I invited you. The Bertonis invite the O'Connors to come spend time at our spread out here in Temecula, right by the wineries itself. But I want to also, again, if you were here in LA, there would be an automatic invite. What's coming up and what we're doing here, and we've got some really cool things coming up with a company and a restaurant called Back Bay Bistro in Newport Beach, right in Newport Dunes. That's newportdunes.com. We're doing a thing called Taste the Music. I did a show, our first kickoff and jump off was with Bunny Burnell and Kayleen Peoples and Virgil Donati and Julian Coriel and Mitch Foreman. I mean, you talk about a gaggle of amazing players, and it was a success. Yeah. And through us at Intertalk Radio, Jackie's Groove, this coming Saturday, the 11th, if you're in town, brother, you got a VIP pass. We're doing this thing at the Back Bay Bistro with Terry Woolman, and his show is going to be ridiculous, and it's basically pairing music with food with wine, adult beverages. So to answer the question, are you going to be in town by chance by Saturday, or are you stuck in LA?
Saturday, I will be in Orlando.
Okay, well, we're on the opposite sides, man. But you will always, you'll always be part of the Intertalk family. So I want to throw that out there. And again, guys, listeners out there worldwide, especially in California, this is coming Saturday, November the 11th, at 6:00. Doors open. Showtime is at 7:30. Back Bay Bistro, Newport Dunes, Newport Beach, California. Ticketweb.com. You guys join us out there for the successful in a new room, a new venue. We want to support that. So back to the situation of when you were saying to yourself, Jesus, I'm at home. Why aren't the phone's ringing? I asked that question because when I interviewed Ray Parker Jr., I said to Ray, after the success of Ghostbusters, who Morris to this day is still the number one licensed product during Halloween, only to be followed by the Monster Mash and a thing called Thriller. And so when I asked Morris about when I asked Ray, does he ever get tired of hearing who you going to call? And so on. He says, Jackie, why would I get tired of holding the biggest lottery ticket I've ever had? But here's the reason why I bring this part up. He only, after the success, because he only had a weekend to write that music. The movie was done already. Right. So when he came and wrote this, they offered him another $50,000 to do his homework over the weekend. If he made it, fine. If he didn't, the movie never made, the music never made the movie. But the fact is, I asked him, how inundated were you with studios? And he said, Jackie, my phone never rang. Never rang. The biggest movie never rang. And so that's why I asked that question. So you got to watch out who you think you are. And after that one Academy Award, doesn't necessarily mean that, or the Grammy necessarily mean that phones are going to ring off the hook. So let's go back here with everything with the Daz Band, with Charlie Wilson, with Earth, Wind & Fire, with Stevie Wonder. And I'm only touching us and the Gap Band, excuse me, and of all the groups you're playing with. Does Morris James O'Connor have a bucket list that you want to share with us? Who do you want to play with? Let's start out with who could you have played with that's passed already.
Michael Jackson for sure. Definitely. Of course. I never got a chance to play with him. And Prince sat in with us. We were at Madison Square Garden with Stevie, and he sat in with us on Superstition. So I got a chance to play with him briefly on that one song. Beautiful. And trying to see who else, I actually got a chance to play with Chick Corea. We were in Clearwater, Florida, and he invited us out to his place, and Birdie, Ralph, Philip, and myself got a chance to do some recording with him. We were actually working on some stuff. I don't know what's going on with it, which was like, man, Chick Corea. I was like, wow, I was blown away. It's like, my buddy plays guitar with him that I went to MI with, Frank and Bali. We all graduated out of the same class. He's an amazing guitar player. And actually I got a chance to work with him last year on his solo project with him and his wife.
What a monster.
Great
what a
music.
monster. I've been blessed, brother.
Too, just really
man. I had the honor of already interviewing Al DeMille, who's a personal friend of us and the network. And also we had a great interview last year with a gentleman by the name of Stanley Clark. So we got the feelers out right now for Mr. Correa to come on and Lenny White and so on. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I guess there's a buzz in the industry that Jackie's spending a lot of time seeing if he can regroup RTF, Return to Forever. So, and as like Stanley said and like Al Di Meola said, never say never. So that's all I'm going to say on that. And I'll do what I have to do to bring that forward. Now, we talked about the people in the past. Right now, if the phone rang tomorrow, who would you want to pick up and who would you want to say, hey, man, come join the band? Who is that? Share with us.
Join Earth, Wind & Fire band or who I would want to play with?
Play with you. Give me your living bucket list.
You know, I was a big Beatles fan, so if I had a chance to play with Paul McCartney, that would be amazing.
Everybody's asked that. Everybody said the same thing, man.
And you know what? Shaka Khan is my favorite female vocalist, and we went to the same high school in Chicago, you know, Calumet High School, and I would have loved to play with her, you know, she's amazing. I just love her voice. She hits those notes like a trumpet player right on spot, real powerful.
Well, you know, brother, you're gonna have to beat up brother Rob Bacon to get out of that gig. And I'm going to tell you something.
Oh, you're right. That's a funky boy. He's a bad boy. I like Rob Bacon. Great guitar player.
I'm gonna throw a little teaser out there. And John Robinson, if you're listening, it's your fault. There's a very good chance that Rufus is rejoining. You heard it here, brother. Yeah. So we'll leave it at that. I'm just kind of throwing it out there. That's all about John J.R. Robinson, the most recorded drummer in the history of music, and he's also on our station also with Vinyl Nights with J.R. John Robinson. So I'm going to go from there. Now, let me ask you this question. This is very important to me. A very unfair question again. Who's your favorite child? Let's talk about Stevie Wonder for a second. When you got up on stage, when those lights dropped and you see the shining sea of faces out there, and Morris looks down, either if his set list is on the wedge or on his mic stand or on the floor, what song made you smile and that you couldn't wait to get to it? And tell us the song and tell us why.
Oh, wow. Jeez. There's so many songs of Stevie Wonder that's like that, man.
But choose one. Choose one.
God, that's hard. Oh, man, that's so hard. Because certain songs give you certain types of joy, you know, with Stevie, you know. Okay, let's talk about a song that will give you a chance to rip, kick ass, and so on. It's going to throw you up front. The spotlight's on you. The Vera lights are all pointing towards you. Is it Superstition? Is it Sir Duke? What is it? You know what? He used to let us solo on Do I Do, and he would let us stretch out. This was like in '96, the first tour I did with him.
Right.
And that was, man, then when we played Too High in 2007, that was amazing. Get a chance to play that. And Contusion, which was challenging. That's not an easy song to play.
Yeah, what's the meter?
Faster than what is it?
Yeah, what's the count on that song, man? I can't figure it out because I know it's not a straight four. Yeah, it's a very weird signature. Yeah, it's slightly, man. We're going to get technical.
Yeah. And then, the hardest part is the second part.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Yes, that's your homework when we get off the air. Yeah, definitely. Okay, so that was a hard question. Let me ask you another question, is maybe because it's current right now. What about an Earth, Wind & Fire song? What makes you smile when you see that on the list? What's your favorite song to play with them live?
Let me see. You know what? I have a lot of fun playing the funk on, what song is that? We get in such a heavy groove on Kalimba Story.
Beautiful, man.
Who's playing into such a heavy?
Who's playing the kalimba on that? I mean, God bless him. Maurice used to do the most incredible kalimba opening on that. Is Philip doing the kalimba now on that, or is Ralph? Who's doing that at all?
No,
or is it pre-taped?
That's Philip. Okay, cool. Philip's doing it. Yeah, Philip's doing it. Yeah, he does a kalimba solo on it actually.
Yeah, forgive me for being a fan, brother. Forgive me for being a fan. Let's put it this way: I always use the term back when you're singing it, and I'm going, "Oh my goodness, the guitar player is not feeling well." Is there a guitar player in the house? The quintessential, then boom, Morris raises his hand. All I know, someone had asked me about this because I don't read or write or stitch music. And people have asked my wife if she's at a gig, how long has Jackie been working with this group? And my wife says it's his first time. So you get that second sense. You know, for a person who doesn't have sight, like Stevie, you gain it other ways.
Yeah.
But if I was to be thrown up on stage with Earth, Wind, and Fire, even the current arrangements, since I'm such a fan, I would definitely jump in there without even, no fault, no failure at all. And that's a dream. That's a dream. And so when we come back, look at brother, we're coming on the last segment of a 2-hour interview. And I want to get back to more of the aesthetics. It's something we've touched about your career. I'm a fan, brother. I've always have been since the day you walked on that stage. And I'm proud to have you here. But I want to find out, being an old guy like you are and myself, I want your opinion. I want to find out what's your stance on the music business or the lack thereof when we come off the next segment. It's very important for me to find out where you are, what you're feeling of today's music. Do you like it? If you don't like it, don't say it now. Let's talk about that in the last segment.
Okay.
So when we come back, when we come back on the final segment of Jackie's Groove with my in-studio guest, Mr. Morris James O'Connor, guitarist, vocalist with the iconic and legendary group called Earth, Wind, and Fire. When we get back on the last segment, we're going to talk about business. We're going to talk about how to find out where Morris is going to be in a town near you with his own groove or with Earth, Wind, and Fire. Guys, don't go anywhere. Bring those final questions up. We're going to wrap it and reel it all in on the last segment. Segment number 6 of Jackie's Groove. Guys, I'm Jackie Bertoni. The network is called Intertalk Radio. Connect to all things music. My guest, Mr. Morris James O'Connor. Guys, don't go anywhere. Segment 6, right around the corner. Stay tuned.
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear, host of Sound Experience here on Intertalk Radio. And Source Connect by Source Element is the essential tool that we use to link between my studio in Austin, Texas and the WS radio station in San Diego. Now with Source Connect, not only can we communicate in real time and with HD audio, but it's synced up and is of a high enough quality that I can use it for real-time ADR work, remote recording and overdubbing, and it even allows me to remotely control a DAW. Source Connect by Source Element. Affordable, high-quality audio and video connection over the internet for all of your production needs.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Make this your vinyl night. I'm John J.R. Robinson, and every week, music creation comes alive through stories, experiences, and sounds when vinyl records filled our hearts and minds. My friends and I share our tips and techniques used in creation of iconic tracks for recording artists such as Michael Jackson, Eric Clapton, Quincy Jones, and Steve Winwood, to name a few. Vinyl has emerged hot, and the soul of vinyl defines art and passion which burns deepest at night. Tune in every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on intertalkradio.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, this is Michael McDonald, and you're listening to my good buddy Jackie Bertoni on Jackie's Groove.
Welcome to Jackie's Groove. Come journey with us through the rhythm of the music business with your host, Jackie Bertoni.
Probably one of my favorite tunes by Mr. Stevie Wonder. Guys, this is Jackie Bertoni. Guess who I'm talking to? Morris James O'Connor. I bow to your greatness, my brother. And this is the last segment, the last hour of a 2-hour interview that's just gone by. Let's talk about this, man. That's the way of the world. September. Got to get you into my life. Love's Holiday. I mean, how many more songs? In the Stone. Jupiter. I can go. Need I go more? I mean, this is music that blows me out of the water. I, being part of a group like the Tower Power Horn Section, who's the most recognizable horn section, who's played with everybody. But I can tell you right now, you can sit me down, Morris, and you can play me just an a cappella performance of a horn section. I could tell you who Muscle Shoals is. I could tell you who Seawind is. I can tell you who Tower Power is, Chicago, and most definitely Earth, Wind, and Fire. Do you want to give a shout out while we're here, brother, to your fellow bandmates and give them the props? And if you can go ahead and just read off the list there.
Okay, I'm going to start off with our musical director, Myron McKinley. Amazing guy, amazing keyboard player, like a virtuoso, man. This guy got ridiculous chops, man. He's actually doing a solo thing with his trio. He's got a trio thing. I think their CD just released sometime last month, you know. Great guy as well, you know. And, of course, Verdine, our bass player, he's, you know, of course, legendary, you know, amazing guy, amazing bass player, legendary bass player, you know. Ralph Johnson, percussionist, vocals, you know, the original drummer also, you know. When the band first started, he was like one of the, when Maurice started hiring the younger guys after it was a different Earth, Wind, and Fire before, and that was one of the first guys he hired, was Ralph, you know. And Philip Bailey, of course, amazing voice and amazing talent. He's a great writer as well, you know. And, you know, moving on to the horn section, guys, Gary Bias, who's been there for 30 years now, you know.
You dig?
Amazing saxophone player, my road buddy. We always smoking cigars together.
Yeah, dig it, man.
Reggie Young, who's been there for 30 years as well. Trombone player, amazing trombone. He's like made one of the baddest trombone players in there. He does a lot of sessions and the Grammys and all that stuff. And Bobby Burns, another great guy. He's been in the band, I think, after Ray left, you know, because Ray got Bell's palsy, so he couldn't play anymore. He was a great trumpet player, you know, so those were big shoes to fill. And Ray is now the road manager, you know.
Oh, cool.
Ray is still with us. Yeah, he's our road manager, you know.
Nice.
And Bobby Burns, great. He stepped in and killing it, getting those notes in the stratosphere on his trumpet. It was really a 2-trumpet gig, so it's a really hard thing for one. He's got to play every day just to be able to play those parts, you know, just to keep the chops up. And, you know, Serge Dimitrijevic, you know, new guys like, you know, my boy Gmo, when he left, it's like, oh, man, I miss my boy Gmo. And he got this new guy in, and he just listens. He's a sponge. He plays his ass off, and just a great human being, you know. Serge Dimitrijevic, you know, I call him my little Aussie brother.
You dig it. Dig it.
From Australia, you know, and great guitar player. And, of course, John Paris, great practical joker, great drummer. And a lot of people don't know, John can play the hell out of guitar, too.
Absolutely.
He plays the guitar upside down. It's like, man.
Not to mention the best smile. Yeah, not to mention the best smile in the industry. That man lights up the stage. Go ahead, man. How about Mr. Bailey's young man? What's give a shout out to Mr. Bailey's young offspring.
Oh, yeah. Go, man. Philip Duran Bailey. He's been a sponge, too, man. This guy, I've seen him grow on the gig. He's learning more and more and more. He's really digging in, you know. So he's definitely been a part of the feature of the Earth, Wind, and Fire. You know, young man is doing a great job. And I could say to him, keep on doing it, you know, keep on being a sponge, keep on learning, keep on growing, you know. And Tig, who's another guy that a lot of people forget about, who sings his butt off, and he works the audience like, you know, that guy, you won't believe his age when it's like, you say, oh, he's one of the new young guys. Like, he's like Tig.
Yeah.
He went to school. He went to college with my buddy. I grew up, so we're the same age.
Well, as you know, as my wife Caprice always says,
we're both 30.
yeah, right. As my wife Caprice always says, black don't crack, and for being Italian, she says grease don't crease. And you know, and that's the
there you go.
That kind of keeps us young there, man. You know, I want to say one thing, because, you're not the only one, baby, that can talk about a band. Let me tell you about the band of fools that I work with. And I'm not talking about music. I'm talking about my network. And that goes down to Cedric and to my girl, Megan, I love you, girl, and to a girl who just left us, not for any reason why she just got too much on her own plate, Candy, and also Paul Berezetsky, who's taken off. He's the COO of the network and also my engineer. And this crazy dude that you spoke to on break, he's called the CEO, and I don't know what that stands for, but I'll figure the acronym. He's also an amazing bass player. At least I was paid $20 to say that. And with more important, he's the one that keeps this crazy ship afloat. So he had asked me if he wouldn't mind coming on, and of course, what am I to say no to him? So with that said, Morris, would you say hi to the CEO, Florentino? Florentino, say hi to Morris.
Hey, Morris, how's it going, man?
Hey, how's it going, Florentino? How you doing, my brother?
Oh, I'm doing great, brother. Doing great, man. Just enjoying this interview and stories, and enjoying hearing about all the fun folks that we have not had a chance to meet except for today, but it seems like we've known each other for a long time because of all the different players that have crossed our lives. And, it's just, I want to say a blessing to music and community at this particular point. I think that's
definitely a small world in this business.
Yeah, sure. Man. All the cats that you're mentioning. I met Gary through Andrew Ford, bass player. And we were going to be doing.
Oh, I met Andrew Ford. I met Ronnie Foster through Andrew Ford.
Okay, so and Andrew's going to be playing with Terry Woolman, the concert that Jackie just mentioned, and and Andrew.
Johnny Friday's playing drums, right?
I believe so. Yeah. There's going to be
that's my boy. We play together with Ellis Hall. Me and Johnny used to play together with Ellis Hall all the time. Oh yeah.
And Terry does as well. Terry's a big player with Ellis, so it's just it's a small world, and I just man. And amazing because it's such an impactful world. That's why this network was created, because we realized that, we know, Stevie Wonder, everyone knows Stevie, everyone knows, Earth, Wind and Fire, but there's cats like Morris that help bring that sound out. Going back, Larry Dunn, we mentioned Larry's a good friend. With that said, it's important that we recognize and spotlight all the talent that drives this industry, as well as the behind the scenes folks. So I always appreciate Jackie when he's sharing, what we do here. We've got a good group. We're not CBS or Clear Channel or anything of that nature, but we definitely hold our own.
Yep.
And we definitely enjoy this industry and are good partners. Like at NAMM, we do a couple of shows with the NAMM organization from their foundation, where we talk about education with Talking Up Education, and then, of course, with the oral history program that Jackie's been on, and Jackie had a chance to interview Dan Del Fiorentino, where he was talking about all this great history, starting off with Sun Records on through to Les Paul, and I tie that in because we really want the listeners to know that the heart of music is alive and well, and although the music industry is in a dynamic flux, we're excited to see the results and where it's all going to lead to. And part of that is connecting to the audiences, connecting to the hearts and minds of the fans. And something that I think that's what I'm excited about most, because, Morris, when we were listening to music growing up, I mean, the fact that you've got a chance to play with Earth, Wind and Fire. I know we're talking with Bobby, and he got his first big gig with Jesse Johnson. Bobby G guys used to play with Earth, Wind and Fire, mutual friend. We used to play in bands, playing the music to these folks, and then next thing you know, we are actually interacting with those folks, and we did that in our world. But you now actually have a chance to interact with people. The players are talking directly to their fans, and that's what I'm excited about. So that whole long, drawn-out kind of soapbox thing, man, this whole segment is about connecting to Morris. So, Morris, tell us, how can we get more information about you, your Facebook, your Twitter, your Instagram, your web pages, places where they can find your music,
Social Security
numbers, bank accounts, anything we can get.
111111111.
Done.
Social Security number.
No, that's all good. So let's connect to you, man.
I'm on Facebook. I'm actually working on something that's I'm not going to. It's something that I'm working on. I don't want to talk too much about it until it's starting to go. Something I'm working on with some of the guys from EWF past and present, and some of the guys from Stevie Wonder past and present. So that's a project that I'm working on right now. And you guys will be the first I'll let know once we get it up and rolling.
We're gonna hold you to that, man. We're gonna hold you to it, brother.
yeah, definitely. And so and I'm starting to work on a solo record as well. I just haven't had time to. I've been writing stuff for years, and it's like people say, "Man, why you don't put out a CD?" It's like, yeah, every time I get ready to do it, I get busy. So it's like I gotta just lock myself down and do this stuff. Because I go so many directions. Sometimes I may feel like doing some Pat Metheny-ish type jazz stuff, with the hollow body. Then I may feel in the fusion mode where I want to do something that's more like an Alan Holdsworth, Scott Henderson, that kind of vibe, and so I just hear so much different styles of music growing up, being a child of listening to all of those different styles of music. I just write all kind of stuff. So like, okay, I gotta get a direction here. So that's the reason why I haven't done the solo thing. I think the last solo thing I did was a compilation CD called G-Fire on my buddy Vernon Nilly's label. I did 3 songs. Vernon Nilly did 3 songs. Kevin Chocan did 3 songs.
Kevin from Sacramento.
Yeah. And this guitar player from Brazil, Miguel Manga, did 3 songs and did pretty good. I think it maybe sold maybe 60, 70,000, kind of smooth jazz. It did really good for us. Smooth. And you called it G-Fire. And I think he did another one with Greg Howe. And so this guy, Vernon Nilly, he goes to Brazil a lot. He does a lot of stuff in Brazil and a lot of stuff in South America. He's out near you guys' way. I think he's out near Temecula. I think he's out in the Inland Empire area. Yeah, and great guitar player. He's got to be a good guy for you guys to interview as well. He's been doing this on label for quite a few years.
Awesome.
Boot Suite Records, I think. Yeah.
Well, definitely. We're actually in San Diego, so if you get down this way, the station base is here in San Diego, right across from Miramar Air Base, and then Jackie is obviously got his studios over in Temecula. So you get down this way, man. We've got a home for you to kind of do some jamming and playing at. So, and then you can, when you get to that new project out, we want to get that going for you. So that'd be cool.
Definitely. You guys will be the first I let know about that, and I'll definitely keep everybody posted on what's going on with that project.
Awesome. And before I do my sign off, Jackie, I do have one question. A question I ask often new artists that are coming into this business, but it kind of reveals something about where the heart and passion of the music is. If you could only play one song for the rest of your life, and that's it, you weren't allowed to play anything else, what song would that be?
Oh my God!
I know it's a hard one. Sometimes it takes people, but that tells you where your heart's at.
Wow.
I'm nervous.
I don't know. I don't know, man. Jeez, it's because there's some funk stuff I love playing. There's some jazz stuff I love. Some fusion stuff I love. It's just what hits all of that. God, you know what? I would. Tutu is pretty close because you can get funky and jazzy and fusion with that. Wow, yeah, that's the closest.
Florentino, why are you messing up my guess, Florentino?
It's so much. Yeah, that's a deep question. It's like, because I love all of that music, man. It's like, and you can kind of stretch out that way with the song Tutu.
Oh, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was actually written by Marcus Miller, I think. Yeah,
man.
Miles Davis, actually. Yeah.
Well, now we know it. Now we know it, and you could do it in all the different versions and intermix it with all the different genre. I know that for me, the reason why I brought it up, it kind of came to my mind as reasons is probably would be that one that comes to my heart right now. So, although I wouldn't want to hear me sing Reasons just because Philip is just untouchable with that,
but Florentino, we recorded that. We did a reggae version with Big Mountain
Oh, wow.
Reasons. I'll send that to you, man. It was amazing. And Big Mountain, Morris, as you know, is their biggest fame song was the remake of "Baby I Love Your Way" by Peter Frampton.
Yeah.
So with that said, guys, I got 1 minute left. So Florentino, I love you, but get off my show. All
right.
Get off my show.
Hey, good talking with you, Morris. Take care, brother. We'll be looking forward to hearing more.
Definitely a pleasure.
Love you, brother. Okay, so brother, in the last minute, I just want to say, I was going to talk about this, but I don't want to be redundant, but I will be using that question Florentino just used. My wife always had a question like, if music was no longer or never in your business, what would you do? We don't have enough time to answer that. So we are going to bring you back in when the new project comes up, when you want to share it with us. Yeah. And we're all about promotion. So we're throwing that quintessential olive branch out. So, you've been jumped in, brother, so there's no getting out of Jackie's Groove and Intertalk Radio.
Oh, yeah.
So with that said, brother, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. Thank you for being part of this, man. Thank John Paris for making this happen. And I love you, man. I'll see you somewhere down the road, either in the audience, backstage, or in Vegas at a restaurant. So with that said, I want to thank you.
Definitely.
Thank you. Everybody, please patronize this man. Go on, search him, go to YouTube, put in Morris James O'Connor, Earth, Wind & Fire, Stevie Wonder, blah, 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 and check out how funky this boy is. So with that said, brother, we're sending God's blessings to you, man. We thank you so much for being part of the network, for being part of Jackie's Groove, and we will talk to you soon, guys. Jackie Bertoni, Jackie's Groove, Intertalk Radio Network. And I always say one thing to all my guests, brother, to finish up, 3 words: peace through music. Love you, man. Stay healthy and happy and safe travels. Everybody, Mr. Morris James
Thank you. Love you too, brother. All right.
God bless, brother.
God bless. Love you.
This is Jackie Bertoni from Jackie's Groove. Come join me weekly on my journey through the music business as I take you behind the velvet rope, interviewing industry notables such as Al Di Meola, Michael McDonald, and Al Jarreau, to name but a few. Listen to their stories on being in the studios recording #1 hits and onto the stages throughout the globe. Allow me to be the music historian. You can hear me live every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Wednesday at 12 noon Pacific Standard Time or 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com. Ready to get your groove on?
Hi, this is Tim Dolbear from Eclectica Studios. I'm a full-time mixing and recording engineer. I work with Grammy winners, labels, and indie artists, using state-of-the-art digital mixing and restoration tools and the very best in analog gear. Really, though, it's my ability to bring tracks to life and fulfill your vision for your music. This has made me sought after by producers and artists worldwide. So spend your time working on music and not chasing a mix down a rabbit hole. Go to timdolbear.com and check out our free one-song mix offer.
You know what's all around you every waking moment of your life? Marketing. You're choking on it. I'm Scott Robertson, and when it comes to strategic PR, branding, and marketing, I've seen it all. And actually, I'm still seeing it because bad marketing never sleeps. Join me each week on May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, and learn how to make the marketing for your brand unforgettable.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.